Hello and welcome to your first ever tutorials for getting started with Butterfly. Butterfly is the search plugin of the Ladybug Tools package that we're releasing. And by the time that you watch this video, this is probably already released, so you can uh, you probably get a link from there to this video. Or if you're not, just you're watching it on YouTube, doesn't really matter. Don't worry, I'm not going to talk about Butterfly and Honeybee and Ladybug in this video. What I'm going to talk about in this first video is how to get OpenFOAM for Windows installed on your machine, which is the engine that Butterfly is using under the hood to run CFD simulations. So let's get started. I'll follow the installation instruction from Butterfly GitHub page, which is under github.com/ladybugtools. You can see there's a repository Butterfly. It's part of pinned repository. If at some point we unpin that, you can go down here and search for Butterfly, and you will see that there are a couple Butterfly Primer, Butterfly Plus, but Butterfly is the one that we want to use now. There's a wiki page, and under the wiki page you can find installing OpenFOAM. So if you click on the installing OpenFOAM, there is a page that talks about how to get OpenFOAM for Windows installed. And hopefully by this video, you don't really need to read all the stuff on this page if everything goes fine. Otherwise, there is OpenFOAM installation procedure and prerequisites that are not written by us, but by OpenCFD people. And we just copy pasted it here and formatted it in a way that is easier to read because the original file is a text file and it's not really that easy to read. And then we will be adding some couple of images here, hopefully to make it even easier to follow. But before you get started, there are three things that if you don't have, like you can't get this installation to work. So let's go over them right now to make sure you're not going to waste your time by installation. One is you need to have assisted virtualization, hardware virtualization on and enabled on your machine. If you are using Windows 10, and I think it's the same in Windows 8 Plus, you should be able to see it under Task Manager. Here, virtualization is enabled. If it's not enabled, just Google for how to enable virtualization on Windows 10, and you will find several links. It's easy to enable it. If it's Windows 8 or Windows 7, maybe you need to restart and go to BIOS to edit that. Don't be freaked out. That's very easy. You just go there. I know, like if you're not used to like or start using computer by Windows or Mac, like that, the interface always you're not used to using command line or something like that. But again, it's very easy. You just go there. There is a place to enable virtualization. You just enable it. You just save and exit, and you're good to go. Then you come back here and then check two more things. Number two, your username should not have a white space. That's because OpenFOAM actually uses Docker technology to run OpenFOAM on Linux from the Windows. And the shared folder between the virtual machine and your computer is under C/users/ your username. So if your username has a white space, Linux doesn't like that, and that's not going to work. So that's the second thing. Can you change that? Yes. Again, you can change it. Again, you can Google it. It's easy to find, like how to change the username on Windows 10. And you can do, I assume, similar stuff on Windows 7 and Windows 8. And number one and number two. Number three, you need to have administrative account, at least for the installation. And then when you install it, whenever you want to run it from inside Butterfly, you will need to run Rhino and Revit also as an administrator. It doesn't mean you need to have always a full administrative account. It's just you need to have access or permission to be able to run these softwares as an admin. That's doable. Talk to your IT. They will do it for you. With that, what we need is for installing OpenFOAM is an this OpenFOAM for Windows installation file, which you can download from this link. There are several OpenFOAM for Windows out there right now, and we are using the one that comes from opencfd.com, the official one, and maybe at some point we change, I'm not sure. And the only reason that would make us to change is because it's really hard to get it installed. And other than that, everything is great. So let's see if we can install it with no problem for the first time. So if you click, it will open a new page, and it will just bring up a link that you can say yes, and it will download the file. It will take a while because it's a huge file. I have already downloaded the file here. So when you download the file looks like this: OpenFOAM CFD, OpenFOAM for Windows installer, and then version 16.12, which means December 2016. This is the one that they released December 2016. For the last year at least, they released one on month 6 and then one December 12, in month 12. So it probably will be the same, and then we will try to keep up with the development and update Butterfly. But again, this video is about installing OpenFOAM for Windows, so let's not get to Butterfly. I run this as an admin, and I run everything else as an admin to avoid any issues that can happen because of permission on Windows. Okay, we run that. Next, you have to accept the license agreement. Next, don't change this path because this is the path that Butterfly looks for OpenFOAM installation. If you're not using Butterfly, just do whatever you think is the best for you. And you can see it installs Docker. Now to start extracting the image file that it will load later. And again, okay, next. Docker toolbox is the Docker for Windows, and it's different from Docker for Windows actually, but it's a version that works for Windows. The older one is Docker for Windows. So we just say yes, next, and install. So once it does extract everything, it will open a PowerShell. Oh, it's installing VirtualBox. So you will see the VirtualBox here. Yes, VirtualBox Manager here. Docker stuff, finish. And now this time the window is trying to download and load the image. So now you see it's downloading the boot to Docker. Configuration, minimizing the taskbar, like all these errors, waiting for an IP. I usually almost always ignore all these warnings unless they really make an issue for me. Sometimes it can take a couple of minutes for waiting for an IP, but one thing that happens if you click on the page, it just doesn't update the stuff. So make sure if you click, you can press enter to make sure this doesn't pause just for no reason and you're not waiting here forever. But it will take a couple of minutes, especially when you run for the first time. So now that's done. It's setting up the rest, and now it's loading the image. This one can take for a minute or two. I'm going to pause the video here, let the image to be loaded, and then I'll be back. Once that's over, when the image is loaded, it closes the window and it opens a new one. You can see that it's downloading. It's 159 gigabytes. So okay, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, the installation is over. That window is closed with no error. And now I have this one, which you say finish. So now you should be able to go and start using OpenFOAM. But before that, because everything is technically installed, before that, we need to go here and set up the environment. Let me run it first. Most of the time, for when you run this, it can't find Docker Toolbox, and you need to go and edit user variables and set the path for that to make sure that works successfully. Why don't we go and just do that? So go on computer, or my computer with this PC in Windows 10, and here in advanced account, there is an environment variables, and I already actually have it. So it's if you don't have it, you can say new and type this to Docker Toolbox install path, and then set it up to C / program files / Docker Toolbox. Because I do have it, then I don't need to do that. So you can add that to make sure that it can find your Docker Toolbox when you run it. Okay, then I close everything here. Now let's go ahead and set the environment, and hopefully everything will be fine. Okay, it ran successfully. It's starting. It gives me no error. Sometimes it gives you error like the JSON file. It can't find a couple of files that's with Docker. Usually that happens if you don't have the Docker installation correctly. My experience is helping other people. You can't do much when it goes wrong, or if you didn't install something correctly, you can uninstall and install them step by step, and check every installation to make sure everything is fine. Again, on the same page that I just showed, let's wait for this to be done. Okay, this seems to be done. Now I can press enter, and that's it. So I have it, everything is set up, so I should be able to go and start OpenFOAM start. But before that, I want just to show you two things, because I mean, I got lucky, or I have done it enough to know how to do it, so everything went well. But it's not always the case, so it can go wrong. If it goes wrong, one is on the same page on the notes. If you go down here, after installation procedure and uninstalling procedure, there is a part about troubleshooting guide. So go here and check the stuff here that what can go wrong, and follow the steps. This is one resource to check and debug if you have any issues. The other resource is if you go under butterfly issues and go here under label, there is a tag for OpenFOAM installation issues. And you see it says there is no result match because we already solved all the installation issues. But if you click on close, you will see all of them. This is not actually all of them, but this is most of them that are important, and I tag them. So for cases like this, you can go back and see this. And then the other resource that you have is CFD Online, place that I would suggest you to go. Or is it online CFD? Online. Yes, cfdonline.com. If you search here, this is the place for all the CFD stuff, all the questions, and then if you have an issue with installation questions, you can go here too. So last but not least, we don't need this thing to be open, and you only need to run this once. So you don't need to run it next time. Let's go and run OpenFOAM start and see if everything is okay. Yep. So I have OpenFOAM. You can see here, there's a working directory. So if I go there and I look, I can see this file. So this is the shared directory between the virtual machine, and my computer. And it's located in C/users/my username, which is Mustafa in my case. It doesn't have a white space. So if it has a white space for you, then this won't work. And that's why I asked you to go and rename your username. So one thing, before you want to get started using OpenFOAM, make sure that you set up the, I just closed that. Make sure you set up the RAM and CPUs to have access to. So I just go here, run as administrator. Again, I'm running the VirtualBox Manager. To be able to change the settings, you have to power off the machine. If now you click on settings and you go here, you can't change anything. So just go here, close, power off, and then setting, go back to system. You see from all the memory that I have, it only gives 4 meg or 10 megabytes now to my machine, which is not going to be enough. So I go for a couple of gigs, like 24 gigs, if it lets me do that. You see, and after someplace it says it's invalid, it's just a lot. So you just go back. Make sure you give it enough memory, especially if you're running cases that needs for meshing, you need enough memory to run. Then I go here for CPU, there is only one here. You can use parallel. I only have 4, so if you have more CPUs, there is a green line. I would give the maximum possible for that case, because then you can take advantage of power runs on your machine if you're running on your machine. Again, you see here it's still telling me there is some error. It says it needs, if I can click and it says stay, that's much better. It says the virtual machine is currently assigned less than 9 megabytes of video memory, which is the minimum, like do more. So again, like you, I don't know what this thing, where this thing is, but it shouldn't be hard to find. So it should be in display, right? Let's go here, display, right, video memory. You can see it's less than what you need. So it's pretty straightforward how to handle this. So there is no error message now, there is no warning, so I should be good to go. I press OK, and then I started this time headless start because I don't want to see the pop-up window. And here we go, it's running with no issues. I can go back here, start OpenFOAM. And it should work fine. The machine is already running because it is here. It should ask like to find the API, the IP, and then it should give me access. Okay. No, something happened. Validating certificate. It's stopping the machine. This is part. Oh, is it because? Let's check and see what happened. Usually in cases like this, I just restart, I come back, and everything is fine. But here I want just to try and see if I leave this as powered off and run it again. So it was fine as you saw, but now it is starting the machine itself. So let's say this time, maybe because I started, yes, now it's working. All the security issues that can happen. So if you saw something like this, power off the machine in the virtual box and then run it again. And I'm copying this path while waiting for an IP. Okay, great. So I have the machine and everything is fine. The last thing to show you is where this thing is installed, and there is a couple of useful files there. So you can see past here, C/program files, 86 and all that. For some reason I didn't copy it last time, so let's try again. As I do this, right click doesn't copy apparently, so I press Ctrl C and copy it here. So if you go back to this folder, where the OpenFOAM is installed, there is a documents folder that you can find OpenFOAM Windows guide for the version, which is very similar to that text file. This can help you too. There's a user guide, tutorial guide, and programmer's guide for OpenFOAM. All of them extremely useful to learn OpenFOAM, debug your stuff, and all of that. But it's not something that we want to cover in this video. With that, if you didn't have any issues, now you have OpenFOAM for Windows installed on your machine, and you can enjoy running CFD simulation. In the next video, I will talk more about Butterfly and how does that make your life easier to work with OpenFOAM. Thank you for watching.